Please help me.
It's not your bike.
Please help me. Help. Please get off me.
Hey, what the fuck is going on, bro?
Yo, don't not take it, bro.
Now you're not getting the bike, bro.
Yeah, now you're not getting the bike, bro.
Help.
You're not getting the
Get
bike.
off me,
I'm
dude.
not.
Why you took his phone? What's wrong with you?
You're
Don't
not
touch his
touching
phone.
my
Do not touch his phone.
I'm not touching you. You putting your stomach on my hand.
My dude, stop. No, my dude, stop. No. I said no. I said sit down.
Please help me.
She's just crying.
You're not crying. You're not crying. I got
Stupid.
I got
It's
your
my
video.
bike. I'm drunk.
Wait, you pulled it out? Hey, Hassan, you pulled it out? Hassan,
I don't give a fuck.
Hassan, you pulled it out?
This is my bike. It's on my account. Please move.
All right, so why don't we reset the bike?
I'm not resetting the bike.
It's his. It's his. It's his.
Reset it. I'm gonna pull it out on your account.
You are active.
I don't give a fuck.
That's just my fake crying.
Guys,
It's fake crying. Stop fake crying.
Hey, stop touching me. I don't touch you.
Hold up.
Hey, stop touching me. Stop touching me.
Why don't you take this bike?
Stop touching me.
I will.
Exactly. So take
Fuck out of
it.
here.
So take it.
Please, you're stupid ass. Fuck out of here. Dumbass. Your baby gonna come out with
Wait, how you stop crying?
fuck?
Not a tear came down, miss.
My dick.
Not a tear came down.
The way I was rolling my eyes the entire time, oh my goodness, I just can't. Not the fake crying, every single freaking time they do this. Are you not embarrassed?
Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
And the answer is no. These Karens have no shame, and there are too many evidence out there that proves this. And you notice how the fake crying started immediately she sighted a white man walking towards her direction. She was like, oh, finally a white man coming to my rescue. Time to cue in that precious fake white tears. There is historical evidence that it works, and I'm going to use it. Then she started squeezing her face like someone who ate lemon, but not even powdered tears came out. Eyes drier than the desert. 1 second she was crying, the next she wasn't. The most dangerous creature that was ever created is what you are seeing on the screen right now. White women. I like that they put up there the picture of Emmett Till and Carolyn Bryant, because this video is giving the exact same energy with that historical event that ended in the unfortunate death of Emmett Till at the hands of Carolyn Bryant. May she never find rest. A white woman whose lies and fake cries led to the death of that young man. This woman's name is Sarah Jane Comrie, aka City Bike Karen, and she is also the 2023 version of Carolyn Bryant. Sarah Jane Comrie is a physician's assistant employed by NYC Health Hospital, and she was recently caught on video trying to physically take a city bike from a young black man who had already rented and paid for it. In the video, Sarah Jane Comrie, aka City Bike Karen, appears to be coming off a shift at nearby Belleville Hospital. She is wearing her hospital scrubs with the NYC plus H logo on them and her hospital identification badge around her neck. The video starts with her attempting to wrestle a bike away from a young man who can be heard telling her that it's not her bike and that he had already paid for it. When City Bike Karen realizes that the young man is not going to willingly give the bike up to her, she begins yelling, "Help, help me," as people walk by on the streets. And shortly after, she started squeezing her face, desperately trying to bring in the waterworks, aka white woman tears. But as we saw in the video, her acting skills 0 out of 10, so there were no waterworks in sight, but she did bring in a desert though. These Karens have to be stopped. This is very dangerous behavior. This situation could have gone south very quickly for those young men there. This reckless, dangerous behavior of hers puts those young black men's life in danger. And the fact that that white man walked up to the situation and just from the jump took sides with her and asked brother to reset the bike. I'm glad brother said no.
Hey, coming back with an update about City Bike Karen, aka Sarah Jane Comrie. So as you may know, an article came out today in the New York Post in which her attorney asserted that she had receipts for having paid for the bike. The New York Post published the article. They did not publish copies of the receipts, but of course everyone ran with the narrative, oh, she paid for the bike, she paid for the bike. I, being a journalist, reached out to the lawyer in question. The lawyer in question is named Justin Marino. Justin Marino is an employment attorney. His job is to help Sarah Jane Comrie keep her job with NYC Health and Hospitals. So, and he told me this himself, that he was brought in basically to make sure that she's not mistreated by her employer and that her rights are not violated by her employer. He's here to help her keep her job. That said, what he presented to the New York Post were 2 receipts that he also sent to me upon my request. He asked that if he sent me the receipts that I not publish them. So I honored his request. I did not publish the receipts. However, I did look at them. The receipts are inconclusive. You can't tell who rented what. That's first and foremost. There's no information indicating an account or anything about who rented the bike. It says nothing about that. One receipt shows a bike that was unlocked and locked right back immediately within a minute. The other receipt shows a different bike, not the same number, was taken out and the person rode the bike for 25 minutes. Again, there's no indication of who rented the bike. Here's what you need to pay attention to. Justin Marino is trying to help Sarah keep her job. So it is up to him to disrupt the narrative that is out there about her right now. And that narrative is that she committed an egregiously racist act by screaming for help and acting like she was being attacked, when in all sincerity, all they were doing was arguing over a bike. I asked Justin why his client didn't at the time say that she had rented the bike. The young man in the video kept saying it over and over again. So why didn't she say she had rented the bike? He said, oh, well, it was a crazy moment. You know, so much was happening. It was stressful for her. She just didn't remember.
So what they want us to believe is that this woman, in the heat of the moment, remembered to take off her badge. She remembered to mention her unborn fetus, but she did not remember to do the most vital thing that is required of her to do in this situation, which is bring out the receipt to prove that she had paid for this bike. But somehow this woman did not remember to do the one thing you do when you find yourself in a situation where someone is claiming to own something that you own. She remembered to do everything but that. How convenient, really, I must say. Share these people, they whine us, ni.
But that would have been the easiest way to solve this dispute. If she actually had rented that bike and had possession of it, and she could show him that on her phone, because the other young man who kept saying he rented the bike, he was showing everyone his phone to say that he had the bike. So why didn't she do the same thing? I want people to enlist some critical thinking skills. Him saying that he has receipts is not the same as proof. I will explain that in a follow-up video. All right, now let's talk about proof, okay? Proof. In a legal sense, if we were in a court of law, the receipts that her attorney sent me would not stand up in court. If he were in court, he would have to present receipts that were irrefutably from her account. I asked him specifically if those receipts had been verified by anyone, including Citi Bike. Had they been seen by anyone other than himself and his client? He said no. No one else verified those receipts. And this is what he sent to me and the New York Post, I'm assuming. And again, these were heavily cropped images. One of the images was also heavily redacted, so you couldn't even see where the bike was picked up or where it was dropped off or even what time, because it was all redacted. So again, or actually on the second one, you could see the times. You couldn't see what station it was picked up from, but you could see that it had been ridden for 25 minutes, like I said, and that was it. Everything else was redacted. You don't know who rented the bike. That is not proof, people. Understand that. This is just a statement from her lawyer. A statement from her lawyer is not proof of anything. That is just his statement. Everyone's telling me, oh, you're going to get sued. For what, baby? I haven't done anything. I simply discussed a video that had already been viewed by millions of people by the time that I saw it. I haven't defamed her. She actually defamed herself with her behavior on that video, because the behavior is telling one story while her lawyer, through his statements, is painting another picture of her. So if anything, she should be upset with herself. But I digress. Her lawyer's statement is not proof. That is not proof that those boys did anything wrong. Not only that, but unless we have their receipts too, how do we what are we comparing this to? This is just her saying that at some point she rented a bike. That doesn't mean it was that bike. It doesn't mean it was at that time. None of that. This doesn't prove any of that. And everyone needs to understand that. That is not proof. So again, before you go running off with this narrative, please remember that what's important here is this: whether she rented the bike or not. And again, that's up for debate because she didn't show proof at the time, and these receipts don't prove anything, okay? Other than someone rented a bike at a certain point. It doesn't prove she did it. It doesn't prove that it was that specific bike at that specific time. It just shows that a bike was rented, okay? Now, the important issue, and we all need to stay focused on this, is her behavior. And that's what he's trying to get out of the media, is the fact that she reacted hysterically, started screaming as if she was being attacked or mugged, yelling for help, fake crying, and that led to all of this discussion and debate about her. And he's trying to get rid of that discussion. So again, lawyer statement, not proof. Those receipts, not proof. We don't have proof of anything. All right, y'all. So I'm back with another update on the Sarah Jane Comrie, aka City Bike Karen situation. I wrote another article today. You can find it on thegrio.com in their opinion section. If you click on opinion at the top of their page, my name is in the drop down. I have a regular byline with them. Here's the deal. The reason I wrote this piece today is because the discussion is moving far away from what we should be talking about. And that is clearly what the lawyer intended. He needs that discussion to change. He needs the narrative to change because as an employment attorney, he is trying to help Sarah Jane Comrie keep her job. And the reason that this matters is because even her employer, NYC Health and Hospitals, tweeted that they felt the video was disturbing. That means that even they were alarmed by her behavior in that video. And by her behavior, I'm meaning her choice to start screaming help on a street, surrounded by black boys as if they were attacking her. None of those boys touched her. They didn't even raise their voices at her. They kept calling her miss and ma'am. They were very polite to her. She was the one who, in my opinion, was acting erratic the entire time. She had the sense enough to take her badge off and put it away so it couldn't be caught on the video. And then she looked at that young man, and I want you guys to go back to the video and review it because there was a smug look of satisfaction on her face as she began to scream help. It makes it feel very intentional. And that is what people take issue with. That is why we are discussing this video. What she did was disgusting. If, in fact, as her attorney said, she had already rented the bike, it could have been easily resolved by her showing her receipt, but she didn't do that. Not only did she not do that, but she didn't mention once that she had already rented the bike. Even when her savior came up, the white man that came up to intervene and told the boy, well, just reset it and give it to her, meaning the boy had to reset the bike because now it was on his account. That means she didn't have possession of the bike, but I digress. Him telling the boy that and them saying she could just take this bike. And then the guy tells her, well, hey, yeah, why don't you take this bike? How come in that moment she didn't tell the man, hey, these boys just took this bike from me? She didn't say any of that. And that's the message that her lawyer is putting out in his statement. He says that that girl rented the bike. She pulled it out of the rack. And as she was trying to back up, they rushed up to her and pushed her and the bike back in the rack and then proceeded to take the bike from her. That could be considered a crime. Why hasn't any kind of criminal complaint been filed? I want y'all to use some critical thinking skills, okay? Now, I'm going to attach copies of the receipts because I want y'all to see them. Plus, there was a whole bunch of you monkeys on here saying that the lawyer wouldn't really talk to me. Why would he talk to you? So I'm including screenshots also of his email to me and the screenshots. You're welcome.
Reading from an article that I'm going to be linking down below, there is a quote here that says, you put a white woman in a situation and a Karen will come out. Listen, truer words have never been said. Like clockwork every single freaking time. And honestly, it amazes me. I don't know how they do it. It is as if they have a Karen gene buried somewhere in their DNA. And all that needs to happen for it to be triggered into manifestation is for them to be in a teeny-weeny situation. And voila, the Karen within shows up. These Karens must be stopped. They are a menace to society. I swear people are not safe as long as Karens exist.